are you doing, friends? Welcome back to my RSL channel. Today we're in my own account and I will take you through all of the different champion types and all of the different ways you can build them. I will explain to you the different champions that exist in the game, what kind of stats they need, you need to prioritize, what kind of sets work for them. No more time to waste, let's dive down. Don't forget to use my promo link to get yourself a free legendary Harvest Jack, as well as Ugo, Lightsworn, and Vergus as you level up your account. Here's how to do it. Log out of Player and Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. And that is all you have to do to get yourself a free legendary Harvest Jack, as well as Ugo, Lightsworn, and Vergus as you level up in progress. So don't miss out and click on my link right now. Immediately get the elephant, the biggest elephant, out of the room. We have damage dealers, supports, and tanks. I like to split them in three main categories. In these three main categories, many champions fall under certain subcategories. So let's start with nukers, right? We have three different types of damage dealers in the game. We have attack-based nukers, defense-based nukers, and HP-based nukers. The only difference between them is that based off what kind of nuker they are, their damage scales off of the respective type. If you have an HP nuker, their damage scales off of their HP. If you have an attack nuker, damage scales off attack. Defense nuker, damage scales off defense. How would I know if a champion is an HP nuker or a defense nuker and not just the support, right? You look at the skills. If we have a lot of ignoring the target's defense, big smack, counterattacks, attacks all enemies, the damage inflicted by the skill scales, some crazy things like that, we're talking about a nuker and not so much a tank. How you can tell with Magnar, let's say, he has an AoE stun here, extra hit on enemies without burn, decreased defense that helps him land the hit. Sure, he comes with some debuffs, right? But mostly we're talking big smack here. If you're unsure, you can always check Hell Hades, you can always consult with the internet. What do all nukers need? Crit rate, 100%, crit damage, 100%, and above. Stack it higher than 100%. Crit rate, you don't need more than 100 of. But crit damage, stack as much as you can. So optimally, this would look in early game, something like crit rate gauntlet. Depending on what kind of nuker, we have either like HP for HP nukers, chestplate. For attack nukers, I like to put attack. For defense nuker, I like to put defense. For mid-game, you can start moving on to crit damage gauntlets with crit rate rolls. Try and get that 100% crit rate from the rest of your gear. And stack all of that main stat into crit damage. Stack an amulet with crit damage. That's some way to raise your crit damage alongside rolls. Late game, we can even move away from speed boots here and stack some for defense nukers defense, for attack nukers attack. But this is advanced. I do not recommend it if you cannot get them to be fast. Otherwise, please stick to speed boots. Especially early gamers, please stick to speed boots. Some nukers will come with certain debuffs. In cases you have decreased speeds and stuns, decreased defenses and burns. In this case, your champion is gonna need some accuracy to land these debuffs. Now, speed-wise, nukers don't have to be super fast. You can have them lay for early gamers around 170, for mid to late gamers above 200, according to, again, scaling based off your level. But if you're a mid gamer like me, 200 something. We have sometimes fast nukers like Cheshire, like Razovarg, that have damage scaling off speed. So some of these need to be fast, but not all of them, not unless specified. That does not mean that you leave them at 140 and you call it a day, okay? That's unacceptable. They need to have some juice. Moving on, supports. And in the supports group, I feel like there are the biggest subgroup of champions, and we're gonna talk about most of them now. The first kind of champion that you can consider a support is a debuffer. Debuffers are the one that, you guessed it, land some debuffs. In most cases, we're talking about decreased defense, block buffs. We're talking about hexers. We're talking about just crowd controllers like stunners, freezers. These champions Let me find the correct example other than... Oh, yeah, Venomage is a good one. Venomage is a really good debuffer. Heal reduction, poisoners, decrease stack, decrease defense. Now, these guys, what you need to know about them is you just need to make them sustainable so that they can survive for a little bit longer. So HP defense, speed, so that they can debuff the team that you're facing before your nukers get to nuke. It's important that you land decreased defenses early on. Weakens, anything that helps you get more damage should be landed before the nukers get to take a turn. So naturally, your debuffers need to be faster than your nukers. If we're scaling off actual numbers, for early gamers, aim for 200, right? Faster than your nukers if you can get them to 200, that's optimal. Mid gamers over 250, don't look at my Venomage, he's not a good example. But check this Ugo out, 225. A little bit better. Check this Mad Hatter, even though he's a little bit of both. He's a little bit of a hybrid. Sometimes champions can be buffers and debuffers, okay? But here's a debuffer. Mad Hatter's 247. I run him in Hydra. He needs to place these hexes. You get the vision, right? And most importantly, to land debuffs, and let's reaffirm it together, accuracy. You need accuracy. Depending on what stages you're tackling, different amounts of accuracy are needed, but stack it as high as you can. Buffers, on the other hand, they don't need any accuracy, because for buffs to land, you just need the champion not crowd controlled. You need them to just take a turn. Androck is a good example. In his standard form, he's a buffer through and through. Increased resistance, strengthen, continuous heals. Increases the duration of buffs. Places ally protections. Strengthens. Any of these buffs, we consider them buffers. Buffers, in most cases, it's good to have them faster than your debuffers. Because they're the ones that are going to place, for example, increased speed, increased accuracy. These not only help you take a couple of extra turns, they also help you set up debuffs. If you need a little bit of extra accuracy for, say, Hydra or Chimera or a difficult dungeon stage, buffers need to come before your debuffers. So we're talking above the aforementioned speeds. All in all, think of speeds in terms of order rather than in terms of values. Order your champions correctly and you won't really lose. If you have your nukers faster than your debuffers, now here's where you will meet some resistance in climbing higher stages and pushing for higher content, difficult content. So keep that in mind. Not so much the numbers, especially early game. When you enter mid game, late game territory, then you can worry about it when you do actually understand what's going on here on the screen and what goes behind building champions. So what do buffers need? Back to the topic. Buffers need to be tanky. They need to survive for as long as you can get them to survive to place these buffs. HP, defense, as much as you can, right? As we already mentioned, they need to be the fastest ones on the team. Not the fastest ones, because there's another type of champion that will take priority. But this, let's say, second fastest should be your buffers. Resistance for cases like Mythrala, let's say. Some buffers, strength and shield, they're gonna come with passives that are gonna increase their resistance based off the amount of accuracy they have, or the opposite, or something like this. Put some resistance in them, and they will be able to withstand any crowd control debuffs that come their way, especially if they're like cleansers, buffers. If it's like a combination of both, they will cleanse debuffs off of you, and they will place buffs off of you, on you, like Mythrala here. This is a really good example of a buffer cleanser skill. A little bit of resistance, so she's not stunned, frozen, petrified. I think you get it. Yeah. Within the support tree of champions, I would put speed increasers. Arbiter kind of doubles down as two things, but let's talk about her as a speed increaser. Speed increasers, turn meter increasers, turn meter manipulators are the fastest ones on your teams. Usually we're talking about champions that we put in classic arena, tag team, arena team, sieges, live arena, PvP settings. Arbiter, turn meter increase, 30%, right? That's a very big turn meter increase. Whenever you see turn meter increase like that, or in case, for example, in Armanz's, steals all the turn meter of each target. He takes that. Always procs an extra turn, right? You usually have a speed aura with speed champions. It's either gonna apply in arena or it's gonna apply in all battles. No in between. There's maybe you're gonna get some for dungeons, but they're very rare cases. Not all speed aura champions are speed increasers, turn meter controllers, turn meter speed champions. Some of them are pure support, like Lamasu's a support champion, debuffer, because she has some debuffs, some crowd control. She does have an ally turn meter fill and a cooldown reset of all of their skills. So it's, yes, kind of turn meter filler, but that's not her main job. Arbiter, however, that is her main job. That's what you use her for, to increase the turn meter of all of your allies on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, these champions, all you care about is speed. All you care about is speed. You don't care about attack, defense, HP, even. You don't care about accuracy, no resistance, no nothing. All you care about is speed and stacking it above 300, my dudes. Do you hear me? Early gamers, I know there's some time to worry until you get to that point, but expect it because it's coming. All of these arbiters outspeeding you in Classic Arena, it's coming. It's a canon event, and in this case, you gotta know. Above 300 and even something on top for dessert speed. And that is it! That is all! Now don't look at my Armand's build because I figured I could kind of build him to hit a little hard if I just managed to get some 7% of crit rate from somewhere. And raise that crit damage a little bit higher, get a little bit of a better amulet. I think the amulet... No, the amulet is good. I think the amulet is making the crit damage, actually. But I was like, hey, if I have an option, why not? But that's not necessary. Your Armans can be a lot faster. Mine is super, super slow for an Armans, and I'll definitely revisit this build. But for the time being, he's doing a wonderful job in dungeons, so I don't mind having him in that setup. Later on, I'm gonna go through the gear. I just need to, like, go through it and comment on the different types of gear and what champions they fit. But let me finish my train of thought. There's another type of champions in the support tree, untalked about, not untalked about, but, like, people would put them on par with, like, healers, buffers. Let's call them healers, revivers. Arbiter doubles down as one. Syl is one, let's say. Ugo kind of, but that is not her main purpose. Syl the Drakes, however, really good reviver. Tagore, Artor. Even though Artor is also a speed aura increaser in arena, I'd like to think of him as a mainly reviver. Nice second form is a reviver support, crowd control. Again, you see, there's like different mechanics, they kind of overlap, they merge, there's no exact science. But you learn to distinguish based off of what the champion's skills read, right? Revivers, they're very straightforward. Do we need to really explain a lot? I just touch upon it, HP, defense. It depends on the type of champion that you have. Sometimes revivers are HP revivers, sometimes they're defense. Do you care about the damage scaling? You don't at all. They are revivers. What you care about is them being fast. As fast as like a buffer slash debuffer would be. Not faster or as fast as a speed increaser. If they have some debuffs, a little bit of accuracy, they don't hurt, right? In the case of Sylvan Drakes, you can build her with some defense because she's a tank reviver. We're gonna get to the tanks too. They're the next ones coming up. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Syl is a mix of a tank, yes, but reviver as well. So depending, right? In the case of, for example, Tagore, and I know I have him somewhere here, I want to use him as an illustration. Tagore is an epic support. It doesn't say anything but support. He's a speed increaser, buffer, but also a reviver. In which case, make him as fast as a buffer would be, right? Very straightforward. Tanks! Tanks like Helicat, like, yes, kind of Syl. Kind of Mithrala. Matriarch Zerguna, she's an HP tank, by the way, but she is a tank. There's HP tanks as well. How you know whether a champion is a tank? They will usually come with something like shield, block damage, damage mitigation, ally protection of some sort, unkillable, taunt, counterattack, provokes. These are very tank typical skills. Depending on HP defense, of course, stack them with HP defense respectfully. You don't care much about crit rate, crit damage, unless specified by the defense champion, and more so like Leonardo and Nuts case, it's straight up a nuker, guys. The difference being, you don't get a lot of smack from tanks, but you get a lot of sustenance, you get a lot of just like shielding, what you care about, not so, it depends on, again, the champion. Someone like a UDK can be the slowest one on your team. Someone like Helicat that you can use for a clan boss team can be a little bit faster. As fast as like a buffer would be, buffer debuffer. Again, it depends on where you need the champion, what for. what kind of speeds are acceptable, and depending on whether they're an exception, like an ultimate death knight. In most cases, tanks could come with some debuffs, so be prepared to put a little bit of accuracy in them, and you do not care about crit rate, crit damage at all, unless specified by the build that you're going for. This Helicath of mine is dealing damage because I recently, and I still have him in my clan boss team. Need him to deal a little bit of damage? He can, but mostly he's a tank for the shield and the block damage. He does deal some good damage, I'm not gonna lie, he does deal some good damage. I'd say he's like a defense nuker slash tank. Again, arbitrary rules, guys. There's no, I don't know if I could like fully agree with the, you know, descriptions here. Not descriptions, but they just give you like the type of champion that it is, but you have to read for yourself, read in the skill kit. Make sense out of what you're reading to be like, yep, this is a damage dealer. Yep, this is a buffer, debuffer. It takes a little bit of time. Sure, you'll get the hang of it. These are the main types, I think. As for gear that you can put on them, the sets that you can put on them. For nukers, any kinds of nukers, anything that ignores a percent of the target's defense is good. Anything that gives extra crit damage is good. Anything that gives you power, power, counterattack. And I'm kind of skipping these because these are a little bit more tailorable, but Savage is a really good one. Relentless if you want to get extra turns. Lifesteal for your beginner champions. And some nukers that like have multiple hitters and you run them close to like a berserk mode almost, where they drop a lot in HP and you have to make it back up. Lifesteal. Speed is never wrong, like you can never go wrong with speed. Now from the more advanced-ish ones, Pro is always good. Even Immortal is good on nukers sometimes. Can't miss with it. I don't know if anybody uses these divine sets. I have found myself using some divine speed pieces because it's 2 pieces. Very easy to get some extra speed in there with a little bit of self shield. But they're pretty self-explanatory. They mimic the other ones. The life and offense and the ones that you get from campaign. Swift Parry, yeah, not a bad option, especially for champions like Ninja. Perception, if they have debuffs. Stone Skin, really good on nukers. Instinct, good on nukers, gives you extra speed. Defiant on defense nukers can be good. Gives you defense percent, but also takes away some of the AoE attack damage. Zeal for HP nukers works. Supersonic works. Merciless is amazing for nukers, S tier. Slayer, S tier for nukers. Feral can also be S tier for nukers. Don't mind. Don't mind. I will sort through this. It's just really hard when I get things like this. I don't have infinite money, but I do be having a lot of Feral pieces coming in. Pinpoint is a great one for nukers. Now, for supports. Think support stats. Think protection. Think guardian. Think perception. Resilience. Deflection. That rhymed, dude. Holy hell. Think immortal. Any healing sets. Relentless is also really good for supports. Get him to take a few extra turns. Regeneration, accuracy, and speed. Of course, you can never go wrong with these. From the a little bit more advanced ones, after protection. Bolster is amazing. Defiant is amazing. Impulse is good. Supersonic is amazing. Merciless and Slayer not so much. Feral is amazing. Pinpoint is amazing. Front of Age just came out. That's also amazing. For tanks, I'd say very close to what supports would need, with a little bit more focus on defense. As for like, you know, the supports, you can really split it again and say like speed increasers really benefit from Chronophage and sets like Pinpoint and Impulse and Instinct. You would say that Revivers benefit from sets like Bolster and Defiant and Protection. Resilience if you really are starving for gear. Immortal. But just by telling you guys what kind of stats they need, gear is super self-explanatory. It gives you some effect. Stack a bunch of cool effects that make sense for your champions. You can tailor it however else you want. I also open a very big bracket. Early gamers that cannot match sets, don't try to match sets. Don't close your eyes to things like speed, crit rate, crit damage for nukers, accuracy. There's time for you to start matching sets, pieces, right? Don't rush it. You can get away with putting random pieces on your champions in the beginning and even into early game, and even into mid game. It's fine. Whatever you have, whatever you can get by, as long as it's the correct stats and the correct gear for the champion that you're building. I try to make this as concise, as straightforward as possible, but there are a lot of champion types. So if I've missed out on something, if you want to add on to some like champion type that I've kind of missed out, like I didn't really touch upon, and you think it's important, hit them down in the comment section. Help our new friends out, new players in Raid and new players to the genre orient themselves in this chaos, because it's a lot. It can't be a lot, I get it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one tomorrow. Bye!